Good evening, everyone.
Hi,
How are you
Chris.
doing tonight?
Good, and you?
Good, great to see you. We'll get going. We got a packed meeting. So at this time, in accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, the Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, 6:30, public meeting of the Wrentham Select Board shall be conducted remotely. The public is invited to join via Zoom. And the instructions are on our agenda on the town's website. As a preliminary matter, this is Select Board Vice Chair Chris Gallo. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond to the affirmative. Jim Anderson.
Here.
Good to see you, Jimmy. Bill Harrington.
Gladly here.
Bill Rouse.
Here.
And new member Roy Lamoth.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Town Manager Michael King.
Present.
Assistant Town Manager Greg Enos.
Affirmative.
Executive Assistant Amanda Vazzapolo.
Present.
Okay. Before we get going, we're going to go to tab 1. And we have to do some reorganization of the board. So at this time, does anyone have any nominations they'd like to make?
Yeah, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, before I make a motion, I'd like to first congratulate Selectman Harrington and Selectman Lamoth for the well-deserved campaign and also getting on the Board of Selectmen. So congratulations to both of them.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
I concur.
And all.
And Mr. Vice Chair, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so as we make this motion for the chairman's job, I've got to say this, that I think you've done an incredible job in the absence of our beloved chairman, Joe Botash. And if you would be honored to take the position now as a full-time chair, I would make that motion.
I'm honored to get the motion. Let's see if there's a second.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, very much appreciated. Second by Selectman Harrington, very much appreciated. Let's do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Absolutely, yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. I'd just like to say something too. I just want to thank the board for the support before we nominate the vice chair. It's been a tough transition, as Jim alluded to, losing our beloved chairman. I got to say this board has been nothing less than fantastic, supportive, reaching out, as I tried to fill those shoes that I could never fill, but just try to do the best that I could. So I'm very happy with the results of the election. I'm happy to have Selectman Harrington back, and I'm happy to have Selectman Lamoth joining us tonight. I just want to thank my board members for your support over the last 12 months. And I'm excited because I think we have a tremendous board. We can continue to accomplish tremendous things. And it's a pleasure and an honor to serve with each and every one of you. So thank you for that. And at this time, we need a vice chair. Is there a nomination for a vice chair?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would nominate Selectwoman Rouse as the vice chair.
I would second that. So we have a nomination by Selectman Anderson, second by me. Let's do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes, thank you very much.
No way.
Oh no. Selectman Anderson.
Yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Yes.
Chris Gallo, emphatic yes. Motion
Thank you.
carries 5-0. Thank you, Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you.
Okay, With that being said, let's get down to business. We have oh no, we have one more. I'm so sorry. We need, we also need a clerk, because who's going to do the announcements and step in should the chair and vice chair not be available? So at this time, I would ask for a nomination on the clerk's position.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Anderson.
yep. I'd like to nominate Selectman Harrington for the clerk. He's done a tremendous job doing that position for the last couple of years, and no one does it better.
I would 100% agree, and I would second that nomination. So nomination by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Gallo. We'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Good. That's good. That's reassuring. And Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations.
How about 5-0?
Sorry, 5-0. Look, he's already correcting me. This isn't going to work out, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna have problems.
Can we call a special meeting and rescind that election? Just kidding. Good catch, Roy. So at this time, the chair would ask our newly appointed clerk to read the announcements on tab 2.
Mr. Chair, announcements for 4/15/25 Select Board meeting. Real estate and personal property tax bills are due May 1st, 2025, pay in person, by mail, or online. A special town meeting will be held May 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at King Philip Regional High School, 201 Franklin Street. The Wrentham Department of Public Works Water Division will be flushing water mains and hydrants. This action will go on for approximately 5 weeks as part of an ongoing preventative maintenance program to improve water quality starting April 6th, 2025. Customers are advised in advance to drop pressure and some discoloration of water that may occur while flushing is in progress. If this occurs, you should wait until we are out of the area, then run your cold water for several minutes. It should clear up. At the February 18th, 2025 meeting, the Select Board held a public hearing for water rates where Thigh and Bond presented a water rate analysis and provided recommendations for increase. The board continued the hearing to their March 4th, 2025 meeting, where they voted to increase the water rates for 3-year term effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. The first increase will be 6% beginning on July 1st, 2025. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Selectman Harrington. Okay, at this time, let's get the meeting minutes approved before our public hearing. So go to tab 3. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the April 1st, 2025 open session meeting minutes.
So moved.
So moved.
A motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe?
I'll abstain.
Selectman Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4 and 1 abstention. Okay, we have 2 minutes. What can we get done in 2 minutes before the public hearing? Can you go to tab 10, everybody? We're going to do a EDC resignation very quickly. There's a resignation letter from Beth Bryson from the EDC. And Selectman Harrington, if you don't mind, can you just read the letter into the record, please?
Yes.
Page
I'm getting down to tab 10.
Okay. Tab 10 or page 86 on my packet.
Sorry for the delay.
No problem.
Tab 10 from Beth Bryson, subject Beth Bryson EDC resignation dated April 3rd, 2025 to Rebecca Zittemeyer, CC Mike King, and Michelle Rouse. Chair Rebecca Zittemeyer, as a matter of fact, unforeseen and recent circumstances have arisen during my tenure on the Economic Development Commission, EDC. As such, and effective immediately, please accept this email as my resignation as a member of the EDC. I enjoy getting to know and volunteering my time alongside members of the commission during my years served and wish the EDC future success in its endeavors. I thank the EDC for the opportunity and privilege to serve this great town. Yours sincerely, Beth F. Bryson.
Thank you, Selectman Harrington. At this time, I just want to say thank you to Beth Bryson for a great job and dedication for her role in the EDC. The town is very appreciative and sad to see it go, but happy for you to move on to better, other endeavors. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to accept with regrets resignation of Beth Bryson from the Economic Development Commission.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thanks. Was a motion made by Selectwoman Rouse, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Selectman Anderson,
Yes, with regrets.
Selectman Harrington,
Yes, with regrets.
Selectman Lamoth,
Yes.
Chris Gallo, yes, with regrets, motion carries 5-0. Okay, at this time, let's go back up. Tab number 4, we have a public hearing, one of 2. So my favorite things are public hearings, Roy, just so you know. I'll probably make a few mistakes, but they're very important. So at this time, we're going to get going on the 640 public hearing. It's for the Tap and Tavern license amendment, alteration of premises. We have a bunch of information in our packet, and we have some information we'll go over later. And with us, we should have Dan Fawcett and or is it George or Jorge Vencio of Tap and Tavern? Excuse me if I butchered that. But before we get to you, at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to open the 640 public hearing for Tap and Tavern alteration of premises license amendment application.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Selectman Anderson,
Yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, it's going to take me a little while to get used to this, just like it's going to take me a little while saying 5 instead of 4. So the chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice. Chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice.
So moved.
Moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we're in public hearing. So with us, do we have Dan Fawcett or George or Jorge?
Ian's here.
Dan, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Welcome to the Wrentham Select Board meeting. If you don't mind, can you give the board and the public a quick summary of what we're doing, what we're trying to get accomplished tonight?
Sure, be happy to. Thank you very much for putting me on the agenda for tonight. So last year, we got a liquor license. It used to for supercharged entertainment. There's a restaurant inside it. It was formerly the Thirsty Beaver. We bought out the Thirsty Beaver and we started to operate it ourselves. And it's now called the Tap and Tavern of Wrentham. And we've been operating it for the last year. And what we're coming for today is we have a small snack bar area up on the second floor. And we sell pizza, pretzels, it's kind of more like a snack bar area. And we were asking for permission if we could extend selling alcohol on the second floor.
Okay, great. Excellent summary. In our packets, we have a layout, a design layout. We can see the alterations that you're proposing. And just to be sure, Mike, can you confirm that all the necessary department heads, Mike King, town manager, can you confirm that all the necessary department heads have signed off on this and have no issue with this?
Yeah, the application is in good standing with all departments.
Okay, great. So, Dan, at this time, what I do is we open it up to the board members to ask you questions, and we're gonna start that with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you.
I have no questions. Hearing that the department heads have reviewed it and the application is in good standing. No further questions from me.
Okay, Selectman Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Dan, I do have a couple of questions. First of all, you currently have a liquor license, is that correct?
It's for the first floor restaurant
Okay,
in
So-
I'm sorry, and according to the liquor license, we're not supposed to be selling alcohol on the second floor, so we have not been.
okay. Just to refresh my memory, what does the second floor consist of?
On the second floor, we have a big open trampoline and ninja area. We have a small laser tag arena. We have a small bumper car area. We have a large mezzanine that has video games in it. We have a small snack bar, which has, a small pizza oven in it and pretzel maker. And we have a conference room. And then we have 3 offices, business offices upstairs.
Okay, are you looking to sell just beer and wine or a full
We were
liquor?
looking to just beer and wine is what we were looking to do upstairs. We didn't want to get into the whole thing, but we were just looking for some cans because a lot of the times the customers will be upstairs and asking us, and we're not allowed to do that. They got to go downstairs and stay downstairs, and sometimes it'd be more convenient for them to be upstairs and offer it upstairs.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Selectman Harrington? Bill, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to confirm that they haven't had any issues with the police or public safety with regards to the alcohol they've currently served. There's been no issues at the Thirsty Beaver or since they transferred the license. And the second thing, I'm confused. Is it the total square footage of the building is 132,000 square feet with total capacity of 240? Is that upstairs
That's the total capacity
for the whole
Upstairs.
facility?
for the whole facility, correct?
And what's the seating area upstairs?
There's just there's a seating area on the mezzanine, which consists of about 20 tables that seat 4 people to a table, and but we don't serve at the tables. It's just first come, first serve type of a thing, and you don't even have to be eating or drinking to sit there.
Okay, all right, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you.
And Mike King, that they're in good standing, no issues with public safety?
Yes, good standing applies to both police and fire.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Selectman Lamar?
It appears they're in good standing. I'm all for it.
Great. I also am all set. Looks great. Happy to, want to support our businesses, Dan. Wrentham we love our small businesses. We love our small business owners. We do whatever we can to support you. So know that this board supports you. The town supports you. We wish you the best continued success. And if there's anything, you need from us, make sure to reach out to us. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I just want to mention that Amanda, through this entire process, is fantastic. Her responses are so quick. So thank you very much, Amanda. You were very helpful.
Thank you for calling that out. We are very lucky to have Amanda as our executive assistant. She wears many hats and does a fantastic job, Dan. So I really appreciate you saying that. Great job, Amanda. At this time, it is a public hearing. So if the board has no further questions, we are going to open it up to the public. This is where I usually screw things up. So Mike, keep me on a short leash. If anyone wants to speak, please raise your hand, state your name and address for the record, and we give you 2 minutes. And supposedly there's a clock somewhere, or someone will tell you when your time's up. So anybody from the public would like to make a comment on this topic? I'll hold for 10 seconds just to make sure anyone's gun shy. Okay, looks like there's not. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing for Tappan Tavern alteration of premises license amendment application.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the Tappan Tavern alteration of the premises license amendment application and to authorize the use of electronic signatures.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Dan.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, just because that was so fun, we're going to go to our second public hearing of the evening. Excuse me, time's now 6:51. So let's get to the second public hearing, which is a National Grid poll petition. Pretty straightforward and common. I think we're going to open the meeting, but we have with us Rebecca Custodio from National Grid. So at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to open the 6:50 public hearing for National Grid poll petition on Arnold Street.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, Chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice.
So moved.
Second,
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. We're now in public hearing for the poll petition on Arnold Street. Who's with us? Is Rebecca or someone from National Grid with us?
Hi, yes, Rebecca Custodio, National Grid out of the Hopedale office.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. Welcome to the Wrentham Select Board meeting. Can you please give me and the board a quick summary as to why we're here?
Sure. There's currently a pole line that is leaning. One of the poles being pole 22. So we just need to install a stub pole across the street, pole 22-84 on Arnold Street, nearest address being 209.
Okay. And we have a diagram in our packet on page 51, board. And there is a note, a letter on page 52. All right. With that being said, I'd like to open it up to the board for any questions or comments, and we will start with Selectwoman Rouse.
Rebecca, this is just a routine maintenance for that pole?
Yes, correct. The pole started to lean, so just in order to keep the poles from the first one's already leaning, so eventually the second and third and fourth will all start to lean. So if we put that stub pole across the street, it'll just properly guide it, so it'll stop the poles from leaning.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. No further questions.
Selectman Anderson,
Yeah, no further questions, Mr. Chair.
Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just, just to Rebecca, it's not blocking anyone's view or, I'm not looking out their front door or an annoyance or anything to the likes of that. No complaints from anybody in the neighborhood.
No, sir. From what I've seen, it's pretty woody over there. I didn't technically do the job, but I did check it out a little bit, just so had a little bit of knowledge when I came here tonight.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's good. As long as it's no complaints. Thank you.
A good question. Selectman Lamoth.
Good to go. Thanks.
Great. Chris Gallo, good to go as well. So let's open it up to the townspeople to see if anyone has public comment. same rules apply. If anyone has anything, public comment, please state your name, raise your hand. We'll give you 2 minutes, and we'll let you know when your time's up. So at this time, public comment, please. Okay, seeing as there's no public comment, let's get back to Chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing for National Grid poll petition.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
thank you. Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Rouse, yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. And we're closed. Public hearing now. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the National Grid poll petition on Arnold Street and to authorize the use of electronic signatures.
So moved.
Second,
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Rouse, yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Great job, everyone. Now we're going to get to some new business. And we have with us, we're going to do a quick fiscal year 2026 King Philip Regional Schools budget update with Dr. Rich Drolet. We had the documentation in our packet regarding the budget and the presentation. We know we really appreciate Superintendent Dr. Drolet joining us tonight. We asked for a pretty high-level overview of the budget. And Dr. Drolet, we also just wanted to ask you, when you get talking to us high-level about the budget, can you please include, we understand there was a change in position over there on the finance director position. Our board and constituents are just concerned if that could have any impact on the budget or the taxpayer liability. So if you could touch on that as you give us your presentation, we greatly appreciate it. But before all that, I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the board. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. So I'll start by, I just want to thank you for welcoming me. Thank Mr. King, Chairman Gallo, Vice Chair Rouse, and the whole Wrentham Select Board for having me. I'm happy to be here. I'm in year 2 now as the proud King Philip Superintendent. Also with me tonight, Dr. Bob Dutch. Dr. Dutch is interim business manager. And to answer your question earlier, change in positions of business manager has absolutely no impact on this budget for FY26. So rest assured with that. As you know, I can't discuss personnel, but I did want to say that. And Dr. Dutch and myself at the end answer any questions as needed. And also invited tonight was Mr. Lehan, King Philip School Committee Chair. He did have a Norfolk, I believe, Select Board meeting, so I don't think he's here tonight. But I just wanted to acknowledge the school committee from KP as well. So I did speak with Mr. King, and I will try to keep it brief. In fact, if I go over 5 to 7 minutes, feel free to cut me off and I'll speed it along. But just the general overview, I'll start with the narrative. It's up to you, Amanda, if you wanted to display it, you don't have to. But I just want to let you know this budget addresses meeting the needs of our students while also remaining fiscally responsible. So at the bottom of page 1 on the narrative, it mentions, if you scroll down there, Amanda, we will continue to strive to provide innovative learning experiences for our students, work diligently to help our learners develop the knowledge, skills, and competencies necessary to be successful in life, careers, and college, and offer high-quality educational courses, programs, and top-notch extracurriculars and activities. On to page 2. I just touched upon, I thought it was important to mention as our elementary districts are grappling with this as well. Unfortunately, King Philip, as well as Wrentham, Plainville, Norfolk, and the majority of Massachusetts school districts are one of 232 hold harmless districts who are really just sharing 37 out of the 420 million increase in education for the states. The bulk of the money is going towards gateway cities. They're receiving over 70% of annual aid as through the Student Opportunity Act in year 5 of 6 of the implementation. So as it impacts our budget, just to let you know, based on this status, Hold harmless is we just get this, we won't get less money than a previous year from the state, even if our enrollment goes down. However, over the past 5 to 7 years, state aid for King Philip, for example, has gone from 25.6% of our budget to just 22% of our budget. So this shift has gone towards the member town assessments. Bottom of page 2, not including related transportation cost increases. This year, from FY25, our out-of-district special education tuition cost increased significantly. I'm happy to report from FY25 to 26, we've attained a reduction in students attending costly out-of-district special education program placements. So a large part of our savings, I want to acknowledge, is due to us, first of all, being added as a new member in TEC, the Education Cooperative, beginning July 1st. In addition, we're a member of BICO, Bi-County Collaborative. So in planning with our district leadership team, if we did a full needs-based budget, it would have been a 6.7% increase, but this is a 4.13% overall increase from FY25 to FY26. So it's a combination of level service and also needs-based. You probably didn't hear too much, but we did cut 20 positions this year. We had to cut about $1.5 million from FY24 to FY25. So for this year, we had cut 20 positions. Our FY26 budget restores 7 of those positions. So we're restoring a special education teacher at the middle school, a district speech language pathologist, and 5 teacher assistants. These are all positions mandated to meet student services as part of their IEPs for special education services. Besides that, the bulk of the increase is for annual contractual increases, health insurance costs, and we have some school choice out virtual school tuition increases. Bottom of page 3, I talk about we have offered new specialized therapeutic programming through allocation of staff this year, despite making cuts. And this new program has already allowed us to keep more students in district who might otherwise require costly out-of-district placements. As it relates to our budget, we're going to continue to strive to reduce students who need to be educated outside of our school district by strategically offering programming and with associated staff. So for example, this year at the high school, we were able to have a new successful program that was cost effective and bring some students back to district. Page 4 now, in the middle, one new position for next year, which actually is not in our budget. The state is paying for this position for this year, and it will pay for FY26 as well. It's a new English language, multi-language teacher. It's our highest priority position, but we're only going to fund it for 1 more year because we might not still need that position for FY27, depending what happens with some of our newcomer students, primarily in the living in the Norfolk shelter right now. So our EL student numbers has increased sharply from 7 to 40 students in the past 18 months. So we plan to pay for this position with DESE, Department of Ed grant funds we expect to receive over the summer as the final payment from the $104 a day we receive for students residing in the shelter for this school year. So I thought that was important to mention. Page 5, I want to point out we were able to add $131,000 or restore $131,000 for instructional supplies and service lines that were cut last year. There's also $146,000 in facilities upgrades in our budget. And then if you skip to page 7, I just want to mention we are currently compiling an updated capital improvement list, which we should present at the Tri-Town meetings next year. The 20-year bond from 2006 for the school renovations will expire next year. Our greatest priority will be to get the roofs replaced. They're just about 20 years old now, in decent shape, but we qualified to submit a statement of interest through MSBA, Mass School Building Authority. So we did apply for that. We don't expect to get in the queue yet, but we're aware of that, and we can apply for this accelerated repair program every 2 years. We'll continue to do that and keep you informed. Besides the roofs, we will need to replace the King Philip High School turf field within 3 to 5 years. So I wanted to point that out, and that would be part of a capital improvement plan that we would share in the future. I want to give gratitude for support of our KP schools, for the Wrentham Select Board and all of our residents. We will continue to do everything we can to support our students and families and make smart fiscal decisions for for our schools. And I want to thank our King Philip Regional School Committee for the support in these efforts. And then finally, Amanda, I just wanted to go over 3 slides and the slides that were presented to you. Page 2, I think it's just important to note in the slide deck, it shows the over the past 8 or 9 years, Wrentham, Norfolk, and Plainville's enrollment percentage. So in the PowerPoint slide number 2, you'll see the green line, which is Wrentham. There it is. Thank you. Right there, the green line, Wrentham, you can see went up, and Wrentham's enrollment went up for this from FY24 to FY25, which is what your FY26 assessment is based on. Also, it's important to note Norfolk went down a little bit and Plainville went down more than a little bit. If you go to slide 3, in my narrative, I talk about E&D. I did want to point this out because I think it's important to mention. You can see that our E&D balance, just to let you know, in recent years, KP has been using $400,000 annually as a revenue source from E&D to help fund the subsequent year's budget. We're just reducing that to $300,000 for the FY26 budget. We want to be more conservative because, as you can see, E&D has gone down since COVID. So we're at 960,000 this year, but we were 1.3 million last year. Last year we ran a deficit, so it dropped down. So we do aim to try to build E&D back up closer to 3%, which would be about 1.2 million. As I think you know, E&D can go as high as 5%, which would be about 2 million, which I think Tri-County, for example, has it at the full 5%. So as of now, we are anticipating approximately 300,000 at the end of this fiscal year 25 to be turned back to E&D that would simply replenish to fund our FY26 budget. I do think it would be a good financial practice over the years to not rely on E&D to fund subsequent years' budget. So perhaps in the future, if we can, we'll continue to have less from E&D go to the next year's budget. Also, as you know, this is our only reserve or stabilization monies in case of an emergency. And then, Amanda, the last 2 slides, slide 14 and 15, I just want to conclude. So in slide 14, if you look at the Wrentham column on the right, again, you see you have the big increase this year of 8.13%. But it's important to note, your percentage of KP's enrollment went up by 1.49%. So that second to last row shows how Wrentham's enrollment for KP went up this year. The 6th graders coming into 7th grade, and then our 12th graders go off. Plainville's went down by 1.15%, and Norfolk's went down by 0.3%. I wanted to point out, even if KP did not, even if there was no increase in our budget, Wrentham's assessment would have gone up this year, just simply because of the student population increase from Wrentham this year. And then the final slide, slide 15, I highlighted Wrentham in yellow. If you look at that second to last column, the 8.13% increase, I do think it's important to point out the last 2 years, FY24 and FY25 was very low for Wrentham, 1.53%. And this year it was actually negative. And out of the past 8 years, this is the largest increase for Wrentham in that salmon color. Prior to that, it was about 5 years ago, 6.47% in FY21. And you'll see Plainville, when you look at the bottom row, you'll see overall in the past 8 years, Wrentham's overall assessment increase still has been the lowest of the 3 towns at 3.72% average. Plainville's been the highest, and Norfolk in the middle. So I just wanted to conclude with that wanted to note that Wrentham did have the biggest increase this year and the biggest increase in a while. Our overall increase is 4.13%. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Mr. Dutch, our interim business manager, is here as well, if you wanted to go over a little bit more of how the formula works. But thank you for your attention, and I'll conclude there if you have any questions.
I'd like to just say thank you for the very precise but quick overview. We appreciate that. A lot of great information. I'm going to open it up to the board members to ask questions and make comments, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome, Dr. Drolet, and thank you for
Thank
that
you.
information. Greatly appreciate it. I just have a couple questions that I'd like a little bit further clarification. So you talked about removing 20 positions. That was the start of last fiscal year, correct?
Correct.
So you're adding in 7 new positions, which seem to be ESL and aides, specifically for special ed. Those other 14 positions that were lost, give me a little description. Are those our regular teacher classrooms? Are those AP honors teachers? Where is that gap of those 14 teachers?
Yeah, no, we tried to have the least, the most minimal impact on student learning for this year when we cut those positions. So some of those positions not being restored, not related to mandated student services are, for this year, we cut some teacher assistants, which we're restoring again. But for this year, not being restored, we had reduced 2 secretaries, a custodian. Coming in as the new superintendent, I had to cut the assistant superintendent position to 0.5. So that was a reduction. So in the future, you'll probably hear from me to build that back to a full-time position. A couple of special education teachers were cut for this year. We're restoring one of them based on student supports. The speech language pathologist was cut for this year to be restored. So off the top of my head, it was across all bargaining units, there was a reduction for this year. And now we are restoring 5 teacher assistants, 1 special education teacher, 1 speech language pathologist. Officially, the EL teacher is not in our budget. It was a new position this year, DESE funded for 1 year only. And based on the funding coming in this year from students residing at the Norfolk shelter, our final payment will come in over the summer, which we can use for FY26 to fund that position for 1 more year. And then we'll have to see if we would keep that teacher position for the following year or not. But the cuts this year were felt across all units.
So, I
Limited,
love your
1 or 2 classroom teachers based on attrition, to answer your question.
and retirements. Did you have any retirements?
Right. We did an early retirement incentive last year and this year. So, for example, I think the high school went from 13 to 12 English teachers, but it didn't have a detrimental impact on students because we were able to still fill all those courses. No cuts to AP, no cuts to extracurriculars or sports.
I love your perspective in terms of, you go from 7 to 40 migrants that are living in the shelter that are now in the school. That's a pretty significant addition to students. Now you're down less custodians, you are down teachers. Tell me how your administration, teachers, have been able to absorb that with not having an impact on classrooms and education for all students.
Well, fortunately, space for us wasn't an issue. I know it was for Norfolk Elementary. However, we do have plenty of space. Overall, the district's enrollment had gone down by a couple hundred in the students, which is common across the state the past 5 to 10 years. But our teachers have just done a phenomenal job. Our EL department, English language teachers, we went from 2 to 3, and they've just done a phenomenal job working with newcomer students residing in the shelter, but also all students. A lot of the classes are pull-out classes receiving English language support, but then also students are being integrated throughout the school. So it's been surprisingly more seamless than we had thought, but we did do a lot of planning with an internal team for the arrival of students that, primarily don't speak English as a first language.
So are they in classrooms, or are they in that library area? I hear that's an area that they tend to hang out or congregate during the day.
Well, a little bit of both. It's about 50-50. The new teacher we added's classroom is near the library. Our second high school EL teacher's classroom is located within the library. So, that's where 2 of the locations are. So about 50, from my understanding, about 50% of the time they're pulled out for sheltered English language instruction. About the other half, depending on each student, the other half of the time they're in inclusion classes with all other KP students.
Okay, great. I love your perspective as educator and obviously an administrator. What's your strategic approach in dealing with what I think that we all understand will be less funds from the state, right? With the state in a little bit of a budget deficit or issue. What's your strategic approach in dealing with that? Not, after this year, you have to look a little bit long-term in the upcoming years and what you're looking at in terms of enrollments, et cetera. What's your strategic approach in dealing with that to keep a level budget?
Mhm. Well, budget-wise, we're taking it 1 year at a time. So when I first started for FY24, the 2023-2024 school year last year, we had about 15 students residing in the Plainville shelter. That shelter has since closed. Now we have 22 currently students living in the Norfolk shelter. So it hasn't been as, when you have a 1,200 student high school, we have 22 newcomer students. I think 14 are at the high school, 8 are at the middle school. So it hasn't been as overwhelming. However, with limited EL staff, we wanted to hire 2 additional teachers, but we were only able to hire 1. We advocated with the state successfully, and we will continue to advocate with the state for funding. For example, the $104 a day per student. I know I talked to Mr. Vaughn, who's here tonight as well, to advocate for that funding to continue at least throughout the end of this school year. We'll have to wait and see if the Norfolk shelter closes and if all of those students are no longer in our district, because through the McKinney-Vento Homeless Education Act, they could stay in our district. But we found most of the students who have moved out of the shelter have moved out of our district. So 1 year at a time, and we will plan accordingly with the budget. That's why we didn't want to put this EL teacher in our budget. We're relying on state funds to pay for it 1 year at a time, because we might not need that position for the following year.
Yeah, I appreciate the information on the newcomers. I'm also concerned about those that are, current students and residents, and that will be coming into KP is, a priority as well. So, kind of taking a look at what's happening nationwide, statewide, where the state doesn't have those unlimited budgets, right, to extend to schools. I was just curious on that. And then refresh my memory. It seems like yesterday or within the last 10 years, fundraising was done and that turf field was built. We're already at the place that we're going to be asking to replace that. And that's
So
a priority in the school.
So my understanding, I think it was 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So the top turf needs to be replaced every 10 to 12, 10 to 15 years. So it could have been 2018, but I think it was 2016. So we're coming upon that turf field being 10 years old now, believe it or not. And for example, the town that I reside in, it was 12 years old and they just replaced it. So we'll be getting quotes and companies to come out prior to going to the towns to share our capital improvement plan. But we do think number 1 will be the roof replacement.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2 will be, which will be a bigger, much more than $1 million or $2 to replace the roofs in both schools. But number 2 on our priority list will probably be replacing that turf field, which would probably be in the $1 to $2 million range within the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay, great. Thank you. No more questions for me, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Dr. Villette, first of all, I've heard nothing but good information about you and your leadership team and the way you manage the King Philip District. So I would just ask you to keep up the good work. But I do have a question. And for those capital projects, is there any consideration at all on using some of that E&D funds to offset some of those projects?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, last spring at the Norfolk town meeting, we did, and then the idea was Plainville and Wrentham as well, to do, the school district can do also a capital stabilization fund or a special education stabilization fund, which we don't currently have. So, but with our budget deficit last year and having to make cuts, that wasn't a priority. To your point, what we would like to do is to build up E&D and to not rely on it to fund the subsequent year's budget. So if we can get to that point over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, to answer your question, yes, absolutely. We would like to use a large part of, if not all of E&D for capital projects. Something like the roofs is obviously not going to be able to be paid for through E&D, but something like the turf field could if we built that up to $2 million.
Terrific. Again, keep up the good work. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Mr. Anderson.
Okay. Selectman Harrington.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Selectman Anderson asked my questions regarding the turf field, not realizing that it only had a 10 to 12 year shelf life and the potential of paying for it out of E&D. Great presentation. Appreciate the work that you do at the school, and keep it up. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Harrington.
And Selectman Lamoth.
Well, I want to thank you for showing up tonight and giving us a good presentation. I hope you don't take my question the wrong way, but I was under the impression that the high school had a DEI role at least a year or two ago. Is that still a role in the program that you're running today?
No, the district shared with the elementary district did have a DEI director position that was added during COVID, and that position is no longer in the school district.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions, Selectman Lamoth?
No, I'm good.
Okay. As I said, Dr. Drolet, appreciate your time. Thank you for the abridged, high level but very informative update. Please know this board obviously supports our KP students, you and your team. Whatever we can do to help you out, please stay in contact with us and Mike King, obviously.
Thanks, Mr. Gallo. I will attend the Wrentham town meeting. I won't plan on presenting. Just let Mr. King let me know if for some reason you need me to present at that time.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good night, Dr. Drolet.
Thanks a lot. You too. I appreciate you having me. Have a great night.
Thank
All right.
you.
So not only do we have Dr. Drolet with us, we have another very important person in the community, in our state rep, Marcus Vaughn. State Rep Vaughn, how are you tonight?
Pretty well, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations to you and to Vice Chair Rouse and Clerk Harrington.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here as always. We understand you might have a legislative update for us, so we're very interested. We will turn the floor over to you, sir.
Yes, and am I able to share, Amanda, or?
Hey, Marcus, I just made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, let's see if this will work.
You need some technical help from Jimmy?
I may. I don't use
Good luck.
Zoom much.
Throw
Let's
that
see.
thing against the wall. That's what Jim would say. Here we go. We see something, Marcus. There we go.
Okay, can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. So thanks for having me tonight. I just wanted to, TA King asked me to give some legislative updates on where we stand with bills that I'm supporting on the state side, bills that have been filed and co-sponsored. So bear with me. There's about 20 different bills. I just gave a quick overarching description of each bill. If you have any questions, please feel free to jump in. So H2339, so guidelines for MBTA communities. So this bill prohibits the consideration of compliance with Section 3A when awarding discretionary state grants. It delays the implementation of any new compliance guidelines until December 31st, 2028, allowing municipalities more time to adjust the requirements. So the precipice for this bill, obviously pushing it down the road. In 2 years, there'll be an election for governor. So whether Governor Healy is still in her position or another governor, I know Mike Keneally, who previously worked under the Baker administration, was basically the creator of this MBTA Communities Act, but he's widely communicated that the unfunded mandate portion of this act was not its sole intention. So this is just a way to push this down the road. House docket number 2305, reforming the MBTA Communities Act. So this allows MBTA communities to maintain eligibility for state funding by meeting alternative housing benchmarks So this is very important. This is something that we've talked about as far as, the towns and municipalities that abut these true MBTA communities, and having zoning for a percentage of growth and producing new units within their jurisdiction. House docket 2327, impact for first responders in education. So in the beginning of our governor, pushing certain programs and grants away from the municipalities that were not in compliance. We had a situation where, at the beginning of the year in January, there were fire grants to our municipalities that were halted until the next day, when there was a lot of outpouring. And thanks to, our fire chief here in Wrentham, kind of advocating for us. But this would make it so that no municipalities are subjected to any funding freezes because of their zoning regulations or non-compliance. Senate docket 1440, access to state funding. So prohibits the Commonwealth from conditioning municipality eligibility for state grants in compliance. So again, kind of piggybacking, and you'll kind of see, a lot of similarities between these bills. House docket 2289, again, public safety grant funding preservation goes back into the bucket of critical emergency funding in grants for our public safety units. House docket 2338, exemptions from designations. So this act seeks to exempt municipalities that lack rail, subway, or ferry stations from compliance with MBTA communities zoning mandates, and it acknowledges the varied infrastructure capabilities across towns. 2288, clarifying of the Communities Act, amends the definitions of MBTA community to exclude any city or town that does not have direct bus, subway, or transit service, ensuring clear compliance and expectations, reducing confusions. So, this goes hand in hand with Wrentham abutting the town of Norfolk, and not having any direct correlation with any direct bus routes or subway or railway in our town. Senate docket 1465, further community exemptions. So this act aims to exempt municipalities lacking rail, subway. So this is just a co-bill with the House docket number. House docket 2345, exemptions based on area size. So this act exempts communities with less than 2 square miles from Section 3A requirements of the MBTA Communities Act, recognizing the unique challenges small municipalities like Wrentham face in meeting these zoning mandates. Senate 1437, exemptions under the MBTA with communities law for municipalities that lack inadequate infrastructure, have high rates of affordable housing, or face unique challenges promoting equitable access to zoning flexibility. Multifamily zoning 2308, exempts MBTA communities from Section 3A zoning mandates if more than 10% of their housing stock qualifies as lower or moderate income. This ensures compliance aligns with local needs while promoting affordable housing development. And House docket 2267 seeks to exempt municipalities lacking a rail, subway, ferry station. Again, this is just another House docket that a corresponding rep filed. Safe harbor exceptions mandates that any community qualifying for safe harbor provisions under Mass General Law 40B is exempt from Section 3A requirements. This act as a protective measure for communities meeting essential housing benchmarks. Senate's 1467. This creates an appeals process for municipalities affected by zoning provisions based on water supply, wastewater treatment, and environmental impacts. This seeks to ensure zoning does not impose undue burdens on local governments. Again, something we've talked about in town with the unfunded mandate and the cost of infrastructure repairs and additions to our town would be burdensome, for the town if this were to be implemented. Senate docket 1439, adjacent community exemptions. This stipulates that section 3A does not apply to municipalities classified as adjacent communities. Again, without MBTA services. So just a different designation and description of this bill as written. And compliance extension 1438 authorizes compliance extensions for certain adjacent communities grappling with zoning mandates. And the last few, thanks for sticking with me. So obviously looking to promote funding and accessibility. So legislation such as 1440 prohibits towns from losing state funding due to non-compliance with MBTA zoning requirements. This guarantees municipalities retain essential financial resources critical for development and infrastructure projects. And we obviously want to facilitate housing development. So 2305, 2327 allow these communities to continue receiving funding while meeting alternative benchmarks for housing development. This approach encourages municipalities to build housing without fear of losing vital financial support. So I think Wrentham's doing a really good job. Obviously, we want smart growth in town here in Wrentham, but it has to be done the right way and given obviously some limitations with our current infrastructure as it stands. We have to walk before running. So ensuring equitable treatment, this new legislation specifies that municipalities lacking essential infrastructure, like I talked about, such as public transportation, are exempt from strict MBTA zoning requirements. This seeks to address disparities in how communities are treated regarding zoning compliance and strengthening our emergency funding. So the passage of 2289 ensures municipalities remain eligible for our public safety grant funding, which is crucial for emergency services and community safety programs. And that is all that I have for tonight. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I'll start and then I'll open it up to the board members. So a comment and a question. I personally appreciate you clearly listening to your constituents, listening to the vast majority of Wrentham residents regarding our concerns relating to the MBTA zoning mandate, unfunded mandate determination, and what Wrentham has done via the legal challenge. We appreciate you. I personally appreciate you, clearly listening to us, listening to your constituents, and, putting together some bills that tries to help, address those concerns that we share with you. So thank you for that. The question I have is someone listening to this meeting tonight, State Rep Vaughn, and they're so excited about some or all of the bills that you're putting forth. Can you explain quickly what that legislative process looks like in getting these bills, with support and voted on, and the likelihood with the current mix that we have in Massachusetts right now of these bills, moving forward and getting favorable voting?
Yes. So, traditionally each session, and we're in the 194th session, there's anywhere between 6,500 and 7,000 bills filed each session. So for the 20 bills that I just highlighted here, that's a small snapshot into the majority of the bills that we have filed both on the House and the Senate side. So obviously through public hearings, committee hearings, it's very important that our community, Wrentham being one, Walpole another, budding MBTA communities, Norfolk as well. If you have any, adverse reaction to what has been deemed this unfunded mandate, I'll be giving updates legislative wise as far as when these hearings will be conducted and these bills will be heard. So it's very, very critical that, the larger scale of the public, our town officials, either submit written testimony, oral testimony coming into the State House, or you can join through Zoom, as long as you sign up, once the hearing date is scheduled. And then once those bills are heard, it's up for the committee members to vote on those bills, whether they pass the next litmus test as far as bringing it out of committee favorably or not. And then the Speaker of the House deciding whether he brings it to the House floor to be voted on. So it's a long, arduous process. Typical timeline for bills, unfortunately, are around 6 to 7 years to be passed.
Wow.
Obviously, this is a very hot button, issue across the Commonwealth and across, the 351 cities and towns here in the Commonwealth. So, myself being on the Joint Ways and Means Committee, I have colleagues on, both sides of the aisle that are very passionate about this, as far as in favor of, the MBTA Communities Act being reformed to better suit our municipalities and have more local oversight over, what is deemed, building for the future. So I do have some positive hope for that, but only time will tell. I mean, it's a large legislature and a lot of things have to happen. So, hopefully we can get some of these critical bills and legislation across the finish line.
All right, thank you for that explanation. Open it up to the rest of the board for any questions or comments, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Marcus, always good to see you. Thank you for the work that you do for our town and all of its residents regarding this matter and everything else that you do for us. Thank you so much. Mr. Chair took my question. I wanted to understand kind of the process. The 6 to 7 years is like, wow. I did
Yes.
not really realize that time frame. But thank you for listening to us and championing for what's right for our town and its residents. No further questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I apologize to Selectwoman Rouse. Great minds think alike sometimes.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Marcus, good to see you tonight.
You as well.
Hope all's well. I appreciate you coming forward tonight, and I know you've been a good champion for the town of Wrentham. I do have a quick question, and I think you've kind of answered it already, but we know how the governor and the attorney general feels about the MBTA communities. But I was curious about the tenor up at the State House. What's the feeling there? Do they support what the governor's trying to do? Do they see that there needs to be some reforms to this bill? I just can't imagine, the majority of people up on the Hill think this is a fair bill.
Yeah, and I, alluded to that a bit, during my committee hearings with Ways and Means, and having colleagues from both sides that, are representing like communities, MBTA communities in their districts. And, they've voiced their concerns from their constituents in these hearings to this topic, as far as it being an unfunded mandate and, local issues and infrastructure capital projects that, they've had on the horizon. And if this is implemented in the future, it puts a, huge burden on those municipalities. So I think we have sentiment across the board. Again, Beacon Hill is an odd place, with leadership, and what leadership does and says goes, unfortunately, with a supermajority here in the state. So we can only hope that a majority of my colleagues, both on the House and Senate side, that reside in those communities and represent those communities, hear their constituent base, because I think we've seen across the board, constituents are not happy with how this is being laid out.
Well, I appreciate it. Keep up the good work, Marcus.
Thank you.
Okay, Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to see you, Marcus. Thank you for all you do for our community.
Thank
And
you. You as well.
so is there phone numbers or email addresses that we could reach out to and get our opinion heard? Reach out to Becca Roush, anything to the likes of that with the specific bill numbers that you're proposing and through the House and Senate, requesting
Yes.
their support.
Yep. So that advocacy is always important. So yes, tomorrow I will, or later tonight, I will send the list of these bills to the select board. I don't know if Mike has them already and Amanda, but we'll forward them to you all so that you can reach out to Senator Roush for her support on these bills. And then, same goes for, other select board members and, abutting communities and MBTA communities to also reach out to their House, representatives and senators to also support these bills, because the more support co-sponsors we get, the higher it goes up the list and gets heard in front of committee. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Bill, you good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Marcus, State Rep Vaughn. The next guy is a brand new member of the Wrentham Select Board. I don't know if you know him. Gentleman by the name of Roy Lamoth. I would like to introduce him to you, and Selectman Lamoth, please feel free to ask State Rep Vaughn any questions or comments relating to these bills.
Yes, congratulations, Select Board Member Lamoth.
Well, thank you, House Rep of Massachusetts, for the great town of Wrentham and surrounding vicinities. The gears of government turn slowly, and the only thing I can really hope for is that you can win 2 more terms to see this through. So beyond that, you have my full support, as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Selectwoman Rouse, I
Mr. Chair, I have a quick question or a request. When State Rep Vaughn sends us that list, is it possible for Amanda to put that on the website for the town, for residents to also show support for these bills? I think it would be helpful to have that public if that's possible.
I think that's possible, and it sounds like a pretty good idea to me. Town Manager Mike King, thoughts?
Yeah, we can post the list of bills that Representative Vaughn has supported and post those to the website.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, without further ado, we're going to move on. Great to see you, Marcus.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for coming to our meeting tonight. Thank you for all you're doing. Please keep up the good work and keep in touch with our board on this and all other important topics.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, everybody, keeping this meeting moving. Let's go to the next item, which looks like tab number 8, which is Tavern in the Square license amendment application, change of manager. We have some documentation in the packet relating to the application for change of manager. We should have with us Anthony Gould. Do we have Anthony with us this evening? Okay, if we don't, you could see in the packet on page 81, 80 and 81, it's the application. It just looks like a pretty standard change in management or manager. If I'm not mistaken, Mike, can you add anything to this?
Yeah, no, this is fairly straightforward. Amanda, did Mr. Gould confirm his attendance in advance?
He did, yes. I don't know if we maybe lost him on the meeting.
Mike, I mean, I'm okay moving forward if they're in good standing and if we have no reason to be concerned about this. What's your opinion?
These are pretty standard and straightforward, barring any questions that the select board may have that they would want to ask Mr. Gould, which would influence their decision. I think you'd be okay to act on it.
So I'm going to open up to the board. Selectwoman Rouse, do you have any questions or issues acting on this without Mr. Gould being present?
No questions at this time.
Okay, Selectman Anderson?
No, Mr. Chair, I would just ask if there's been any comments from either the public safety officials or the building inspector.
Mike King, can you answer that?
No, we're not aware of any concerns being raised.
Okay.
Again, fairly standard, just changing the manager on the form.
Okay, thank you.
Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, no question, Mr. Chair, as long as he's in good standing, there's no public safety issues, he's tip certified. I have no questions. Thank you.
And Selectman Lamoth.
Good to go. Thank you.
I'm the same. So at this time, Mike, barring, you'll ask the questions of the board, that we brought up, barring all that runs smoothly, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the Tavern in the Square license amendment application for change of manager and to authorize the use of electronic signatures.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectwoman Rouse, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Selectman Anderson,
Yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next on our item agenda, tab number 9, it looks like we have an interview and appointment of Karen Cassidy to the Cultural Council. Our packets, we have Karen Cassidy volunteer application. We have an email from Karen Becker, who is the Cultural Council Chair, regarding the appointment. And I believe we have with us Karen Cassidy and Karen Becker. Do we have, I see Karen Cassidy. Hi, how are you this evening?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Great, thanks. Welcome. And is Karen Becker here as well?
She sent me an email that she had to drop off for another meeting at 7:30.
Yeah, that's okay. It's great to have you here. The board has your application in our packet. Thank you for your interest. I'm gonna open it up to the board for questions and comments, and I'll be back in touch soon. So we'll start with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Karen. Welcome to tonight's meeting and your interest in the Cultural Council, and resident of Wrentham. You've just been here for 3 months.
Yes, I moved here in December.
Great for you to be already volunteering to step in. I'd like to ask, just give a quick overview of yourself to all of us and individuals listening about yourself and your interest in being in this position.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, I moved to Wrentham in December. I'm a federal employee. I work as a policy analyst for the Government Accountability Office, and I have a lot of prior experience reviewing grant applications, implementing grants, overseeing compliance with laws, reviewing and developing budgets. And I have a personal interest in cultural activities. So I enjoy seeing music. I, like to go to museums and things like that. And I've just been looking for ways to get involved in the community. So that's kind of an overview of why I'd be interested in the position. I think I have the right skill set to contribute in this role, and I have interests that align with the Cultural Council's activities.
Great, I appreciate that information. No further questions from me.
Okay, Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Karen, first of all, very impressive background. I think you do a tremendous job on the committee. So I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Karen, nice to meet you through Zoom. Thank you for volunteering. Welcome to Wrentham. Look forward to meeting you in person and wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Selectman Lamoth.
Ditto to what Bill just said. Welcome to Wrentham, and I hope you do a great job in that role.
Great. I look forward to working with you.
I'm sorry, Karen. Go ahead, please.
No, I was just saying I look forward to working with you all.
I was remiss. I'd be remiss to mention that there is a quick email, Selectman Harrington, on page 84 from Karen Becker. Do you mind just reading that into the record?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So it's from Karen Becker to Amanda, online submittal for volunteer application, Sunday, March 30th, 2025. So she would be a great fit. I've reviewed and hope you can meet her soon. Let me know if you need anything else from me. Thanks, Karen. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Short, sweet, to the point. That's how we like it.
Yeah.
I also would like to say welcome, Karen, to the community, being a resident for 3 months and then already wanting to roll your sleeves up and jump in. You're exactly the type of resident that we love and appreciate. So thank you for that. So without further ado, unless there's any additional comments from the board, the chair would entertain a motion to appoint Karen Cassidy to the Cultural Council for a term effective immediately and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington. There was a second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Please go see our new town clerk, Ann Fisk, to get sworn in. And once again, welcome, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, and I'll do that. I appreciate it, Chris.
Have a great day. Okay, keeping things moving. Let's go to tab number 11. It looks like the junk/antique license renewals. We have East Street Antiques, 242 East Street. My grandmother had that Antiques, 446 South Street. It says both licensees are in good standing with all applicable departments. So that's great. At this time, I'll open it up to the board. Anyone have any questions or comments? No? Shaking heads, no? Okay, so at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the renewal of East Street Antiques located at 242 East Street, and my grandmother had that. Antiques located at 446 South Street, antique licenses, and to authorize the use of electronic signatures.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations to them. Next item on our agenda is tab 12 on my tabs. It says the gift of acceptance landscaping services from Groundscapes Express Incorporated. We have documentation email from Ray Rose regarding the donation. We have invoices and Selectman Harrington, I'm keeping you busy tonight. On page 89, can you just read that email into the record, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So from Ray Rose, sent Wednesday, April 2nd to Amanda Vassapolo, CC'd to Christine Dupree, sale and plants at Gmail. Subject is invoice 9620 from Groundscape Express. Hey, Amanda, hope all is well. Groundscape was generous enough to donate labor and material to the Commons as outlined in the invoice. Could we generate a gift letter from the select board so they can deduct it from their income tax? Thank you so much, and let me know if you need anything else from them or me. Ray L. Rose, tree warden, cemetery parks, multiple accolades, Town of Wrentham, Department of Public Works, and his phone numbers.
Great job. And yes, we have a very generous, the invoice is substantial, thousands of dollars. This is very generous from Groundscapes Express. We really appreciate that. Anyone want to make any comments before we go to a vote? No? Okay, at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to accept the donation of landscaping services from Groundscape Express in the amount of $4,202.32.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman
Yes.
Anderson? Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next on my tabs, I have tab 13, FY 26 budget. Mike, do you want to do this now? Budget adoption?
Sure.
Okay, so FY 26 budget adoption, we have the FY 26 budget that was presented to us at the last meeting by Town Manager Mike King. I asked everyone to bring any questions to this meeting so that we could vote to adopt the budget. I'm going to go through the list of select board members at this time. Before I do that, Mike King, do you want to address the board with anything before I open it up to the other members?
Yeah, I would just like to do just a high level update, Mr. Chair, on the revised budget.
Please.
So I've shared with the board a revised FY 26 budget proposal that reflects savings derived from transferring health insurance from Maya to the Southeastern Massachusetts Health Group. This resulted in the FY 26 budget being reduced from a 6.52% increase to 4.75, with a total budget reduction amount being approximately $955,000. I'll note once again that the major budget driver for FY26 is education, which is projected to increase just under 8% overall. Conversely, non-education expenses will only be increasing 1.23% overall. This low increase to non-education spending is due to conservative level budget service requests from town department heads who have been great collaborators this budget season. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. King. Well done. Taking our education, we had a very lean increase, which is a testament to you advising the department heads that, we really needed a level budget this year due to the, just the conditions that we're in. So, and we'll get to the savings. I know you mentioned it, but the savings in the healthcare, we'll get to that shortly. That's another big win for the town. Also in this, under the same item, we have the warrant, but let me stop there and ask the board if they have any questions for you regarding the budget before we go ahead and adopt that. And I'll start with Selectwoman Rouse.
Just a quick, a few comments, Mike, or questions that you could possibly shed some more clarification on. I'd like your perspective in terms of the budget and sustainability without, continued free cash, because that will continue to decrease. What's your perspective on that?
I think that's an approach that needs to continue. And, it's just much like what Dr. Gillette had said regarding E&D earlier tonight, right? They want to reduce the amount of excess and deficiency, which is the school district's version of free cash in a way, to fund the budget. And then that way you're using those funds to fund one-time expenses, and in our case, capital. Right now we're using some funds to offset the budget using free cash. And then the rest of that amount is often used to either put into stabilization accounts or to pay one-time capital expenditures. I think long-term, that's the solution, is to reduce the town's reliance on free cash.
And then regarding the health insurance, we were able to get such a great savings in terms of shifting. Are there other consortiums, if, or risk management, if next year, right, their prices increase, are there other groups to go to besides these two? And educate me on that.
Sure. So with the Southeastern Massachusetts Health Group, just like, we have to be locked in for 3 years, and then the town can decide at that point if it does want to leave. We were with Maya for 3 years, most recently. And then in terms of other joint purchase groups, they do exist. There's several across the state, consortiums of towns. And then the town also has the ability to go direct with an insurance. We did look at that as part of our process, and we also did look at joint purchase groups. This option rose to the top as being most viable and offering the most savings. Okay,
great. No further questions for me at this time.
It's an interesting concept, though, Mike, just as I'm just thinking about this now. Like we take a look at the biggest expenses that we face in our community, and I wonder if there are other consortium style approaches that could be taken. One that comes to mind is, I know we've been talking about a major increase in trash, right? Do you know if there's any, other municipalities that might join forces like we do with MEC, or, like imagine if a couple of towns, and I don't even know if this is possible, I'm asking you the question, could us, Norfolk, Plainville, or whoever we want, form a consortium on, I don't know, waste removal, and see if we could get better economies of scale with bigger purchasing power?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that all opportunities to regionalize are worth exploring, particularly when you're trying to stretch budget dollars further. The town's been doing that in several capacities, looking at our public health, animal control, veteran service district, for example. So yes, reaching economies of scale should be looked at in just about every budget function.
I think the board would like to charge you, I know you do this already, but especially with these high dollar, increase expenses, and I just bringing trash up as one example. I think we'd really like to see you have some preliminary conversations with other municipalities to see if this is an option for us and them. to achieve some economies of scale. Well, I'm just gonna quickly poll the board. Would you all support this endeavor? Just shake your head or speak up.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Mike, let's add that to the long list of items for us to take a look at.
Yeah, I will just note that we did sign a 3-year trash contract with Harvey.
Yeah, I get it.
But long term, I think it's worth looking at, especially when renewals come up.
And I would say use the trash thing as an example, but apply that to X.
Technology, other things
Yeah.
like technology, other place, shared services.
Let's look at the things that are really hurting us from a
Mhm.
budget perspective and see which ones of those we could investigate. I would say would be a really good goal for us as a board.
Absolutely.
Okay. Selectman Rouse, you asked your questions. Selectman Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So not really a question, just a comment. I just want to thank, Mike King and his leadership team for putting together a budget that we could look at and understand, along with his predecessor, Kevin Sweet, putting those budget booklets together has been very beneficial for us to understand the process and understand exactly what we're looking at line item by line item. So thank you.
Well said, Selectman Anderson. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So one of the things I was going to mention earlier was regionalized services, similar to like we recently did with the shared fire truck with Norfolk. If you did regionalized services for trash in the Tri-Town area and potentially looked at our own trash service, Tri-Town Trash. Something that a lot of the municipalities have gone to their own public trash removal because of the expenses, buying their own trucks, hiring their own people. But it's something, if you looked at regionalized, it might be well worth it. The other thing is for not necessarily for a change this year, but I would like to see an increase in the public works department budget. It only goes up minimally, and I think with a better budget they could provide better service because quite honestly I think a little bit of their service was a little shaky this year, and I think it's possibly due to funding. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Selectman Lamothe.
Being the first time to walk through the budget, I just want to tell, Mike that he did a very professional job, and we've already talked about ways we can work together to make things a little bit better and more efficient going forward. So looking forward to that process going forward as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Selectman Lamothe. I already said what I wanted to say. So, Mike, great job overall. I think we got some, a great budget put in place here, and great high service levels that the community expects and deserves. And we appreciate that with some action items. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the town manager's fiscal 2026 budget as presented.
So moved.
Moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Let's do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse. She's on mute.
Sorry, yes.
Okay, Selectman
Yes.
Anderson. Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next item on the agenda is the tab 14 update on the spring town meeting. We have with us, well, not with us, but in our packet, we have the town meeting warrant. And we have a note from Town Manager King asking the board members if they'd like to invite any of the board or department heads to discuss the specific articles at our next May 6th meeting. So what I would like to do in respect of everyone's time, I'd like everyone to take a look at the warrant articles. If you haven't had an opportunity to spend some time, they start on page 93 and they go to page they go to here we go, page 113. I would like you to respond with questions and comments to Mike and myself before next meeting. And if you'd like to see a department head come to the next meeting on May 6th before we vote the warrant articles in. Is that fair?
Yes.
Fair.
Excellent. Okay, so, Mike, obviously there's no vote on that, right?
Yeah, this is just a preliminary review.
Okay, great. Okay, let's move on then. Tab 15, review and sign the May 12th. Review and sign the May 12th, 2025 special town meeting warrant. Okay, so we have documentation in our packet. There's 2 warrant articles. We're very well aware of them at this point. Article 1, land purchase at 2095 West Street. Article 2, Sweat Park lighting and electrical improvements. Do we have any discussion on this, board members, before we vote, take a motion to approve the warrant? Selectwoman Rouse?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mike, I would just, in terms of my question related to the wording of this warrant, does it give us that flexibility I had done some research in terms of if the town purchases it, being able to at a later date swap it out for another parcel that may come up. Does the wording of this warrant allow us to do that?
So I responded to you just before the meeting started, but
Okay.
but I'll just confirm. So in terms of a conservation restriction, if the town utilizes the land acquisition fund used by the CPC, which is the $600,000, when that fund was established, it requires that a conservation restriction be placed on any property used to acquire those funds. So if the town is planning on using the 600,000 to bridge that delta for the 2.5 million, so the articles to borrow 1.9, it would have to put a conservation restriction.
Okay. So that wouldn't work.
Unfortunately, in terms of flexibility, the town does have to restrict the use as a conservation property.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for that clarification.
And Selectwoman Rouse, you just to let the other board members know, was your question asking, say the townspeople decided to exercise our right at town meeting and purchase the land? Was your question, could we then decide later on if we found a better, more suitable piece of land, could we somehow swap it out for that one?
Yeah, there was information that talked about that related to those funds and doing that. And so I want a clarification on that. So if we purchase that land and say a parcel at Big Apple came up, we say, okay, we're going to now sell this and then swap it and use that for the Big Apple parcel. So I was just seeing if it was something that could be done, as I was just kind of looking at all different options or educating myself for West Street.
I think it was a great question. So are you happy with the result? Are you satisfied with the response from Mike King?
As always, yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll ask for a motion at this time to approve the May 12th, 2025 special town meeting warrant and to authorize the use of electronic signatures.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Rouse, yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Looks like next on my list is the SEMHG ratification. So there's a ratification vote to join the Southeastern Massachusetts Health Group. Have the Board of Southeastern Massachusetts Health Group, SMHG, has voted to officially accept the town of Wrentham as a new member effective July 1st, 2025. SMHG requires member towns to subsequently take a ratification vote in open session for its records after being accepted. I think we've already discussed this. I think people have already made comments and asked questions. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to join Southeastern Massachusetts Health Group effective July 1st, 2025.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Looks like next on my agenda, I think we got through all the new business, so old business. Any updates, Mike King or any of the board members on MBTA communities? Start with Mike King.
I do have two updates, Mr. Chair. So the first being that the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities Emergency Regulations on the MBTA Communities Act are now considered permanent regulations after going through the promulgation process outlined in the Administrative Procedures Act. I'll note that no material changes were made as a result of the public comment period. Determinations of compliance will still be taken into consideration by the Commonwealth when making awards for discretionary grants. And additionally, the compliance deadline of July 14th, 2025 remains the same. Another update on MBTA communities since we last met on April 1st is on April 2nd, there was a hearing in Plymouth before the Superior Court on the town's motion for preliminary injunction and the Commonwealth's motion to dismiss. Town council and the Attorney General's office both presented arguments, and Judge Gilday took the matter under advisement. It is difficult to predict how long he will take in order to issue a decision, which we are currently still awaiting. There's no statutory requirement that the decision be rendered in a certain amount of time. Constant communication with town council looking for updates.
Mike, I will say though, that town council, I think either a conversation with the whole board or me, you and town council, Jay had alluded to the fact that Judge Gilday is very well aware of the July deadline. And not that he said much after that, but he's very well aware of the July deadline, which would lead me, a somewhat reasonable person, I think, to believe that we should expect a ruling, well before that so that we can prepare as needed.
Yeah, so town council did make him aware of, reiterating as part of his arguments of the deadline and, communicated to Judge Gilday that there are financial impacts with compliance that he should be aware of. And Judge Gilday seemed to understand that from what I've seen.
Okay, great. Does any board member want to make an update on MBTA communities before we move on? No. Okay. We're going to move on to the next tab, which is tab 18, public comment. Residents who wish to participate in public comment will be allotted 2 minutes to speak and must state their name and address for the record. Public comment, Roy, I know this is your first meeting, so I just want to state this just in case you were asking or anyone from the public was wondering. Public comment is saved until the end of the agenda to allow participants to provide comment on topics that have been discussed during the meeting. We feel that we do a very thorough job covering all the topics. It makes sense that some of the answers might be done or might be resolved during our regular meeting process. So we keep the public comment at this section. And at the start of the comment, a timer will be sent via message from Amanda Vasapolo, our executive assistant, to everyone participating in the meeting. It should be visible on the top of the screen, and an alarm will chime when time is up. So at this time, I welcome anyone to raise their hand for public comment. I'll give it a few seconds here. I want to make sure give the public time. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Looks like, Mike, what's next? Town manager report?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
All right, let's have it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for my town manager's report, I would like to communicate that Ann Fisk was officially sworn in as town clerk by town moderator Ed Goddard yesterday morning. Ann most recently served as assistant town clerk and has been succeeded in that role by Michelle Dahl, who was formerly the assistant town clerk in East Bridgewater. Cindy Thompson has retired as town clerk after a career of dedicated service to the town, and we wish her an enjoyable retirement. A contract has been awarded for electrical work on the Upper Town Common. This will include a new electrical panel, replacing handholds, lighting all the monuments, and upgrading the pathway lights to include outlets. These upgrades will address electrical issues that have arisen with the Town Common holiday lighting display. A couple updates on Sweat Park renovation project. The stairs are coming along nicely and are anticipated to be wrapped up this week. We did have a recent change order. Contractors at the site brought to the town's attention their concerns about an old section of clay drain pipe that needs to be changed out. Fortunately, the area where the drain pipe needs to be replaced does not have a pathway poured yet and can be done while keeping the project on track for spring completion. The Route 140 Stormwater Management Improvements Project to improve water quality at Lake Archer will be going out to bid this week. This project is funded via a state earmark with work expected to be completed this summer. And lastly, planning has already begun with Southeastern Massachusetts Health Group to onboard employees for health insurance effective this July 1st. A benefits fair is being scheduled and notices are being drafted to inform both employees and retirees of the health insurance transition from Maya to Southeastern Massachusetts Health Group. And that concludes my report.
Okay, great job. Before we move on, does anyone have any questions for Town Manager Mike King regarding his Town Manager report? No. Okay. At this time, let's go to executive session. Chair would entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, subsection 3, discussion of strategy with respect to litigation regarding Gardner versus Town of Wrentham, and to exit back into open session for the purposes of adjournment only.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Innocent, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, do a roll call vote. Rouse,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Mott,
Kamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. We're in executive session. Everyone else, see you later. Cable 8, Mike.